I think we're good. We're live. What's up, everybody? 11 viewers at the start. That might be the most we've had in a long time. So, hello, hello. 11 viewers and 7 likes. Let's have 11 viewers and 11 likes. Who's on, everybody? Say hello if you can. Um, what's funny is my prescription is changing. My eyes have changed this week. Like, I have to get a different. It's weird how that happens. But hello, everybody that's there. Uh, I have a lot of different things to say today. Um, little things to talk about, but I have a lot of things. But I hope everybody will participate with me. Hey, Jessica. Hey, Terry. First thing is I have to go full on music industry stuff. So that's where I come from anyway. I know that this thing has turned into more about alien abduction stuff, but um, I want to talk about David Lee Roth. Um, if anybody's watching that was at M3, hey Jackie, how are you? Um, I have so much things to say today, and so many of them little, but I want to just start with the David Lee Roth. And if you're tuning in to talk about the normal stuff that I talk about with the extraterrestrial stuff, I have a lot of stuff to say about that too. A lot of stuff to say about a lot of things today. So stick with me. We'll get to all kinds of stuff. But if anybody was at M3 this weekend, David Lee Roth played, and I performed Thursday with Steve Brown from Trickster at the third year in a row that I've done the M3 pre-party. Um, and I took an acoustic gig 2.5 hours away on Saturday because, quite honestly, I had no interest in David Lee Roth. Everybody knows Van Halen's my favorite band in the world, and everybody knows that I wave the Sammy flag nonstop. I have been Dave's biggest critic for 30 years. Um, and but I want to go back and say something to everybody. Um, I I'm his critic because I was his biggest fan at one time. So before Sammy was in Van Halen was still my favorite band, and it was all I lived for. And and when Dave released Yankee Rose, I literally thought, I remember as a kid in 1986 seeing the Yankee Rose video and hearing that song. I remember thinking, how in the fuck is Van Halen going to top this? How can this pop? How can that song was so great to me that I couldn't dream of how anybody could top that. And I just, as much as I loved Edward Van Halen and I was a guitar player, I just thought Van Halen loses. If this is a competition, Van Halen loses because there's nothing greater than this. Um, so so for 30 years, I say a lot of bad things about David Lee Roth. I don't think I ever explained to anyone how big of a fan I was of his and how big of a fan I am of his solo stuff. Even his later solo records, there's a record he has called A Little Ain't Enough, and then a record after that called Your Dirty Little Mouth, that are amazing records. And he has some of the most amazing things to say. Um, but let me get to my point. This all ties in very, very big. Um, so, but, and then when Just Like Paradise came out uh, on the Skyscraper tour, Poison was the opening act. I'd already seen Poison the year before when they opened for Rat, but I was so excited to see Poison. And I was a big fan of the Skyscraper record, and I loved Just Like Paradise. And a lot of musicians, this record is where Dave lost them. Um, it's where the corniness started to come in. When you look back, you see that he was always kind of vaudeville or whatever, but it showed in a it's a weird time and world to say this, but in a very unmasculine way. For up until Yankee Rose, David Lee Roth was the ultimate man of rock, and then in Just Like Paradise, there was a lot less testosterone in David Lee Roth, and I think that bothered a lot of people, and it didn't bother me, but and I explained this to Janet today at at the store. Now she's on here telling everyone he was freaking amazing. So I remember me and Janet actually did the math today, and in 1980, David Lee Roth was 30 already. So he was a little bit older than the rest of the Van Halen guys. Um, and by the time 1984 came around, he was 34. And then, so when we get to the 1988 89 thing, he's pushing 40. And in my brain, I personally never thought much about that. When you see your superheroes, you don't want them to get old. You don't think they get old. So let me get to my point about all this. So when you would watch Dave and Van Halen, and in that first year of his solo career, he would do those jumps and he would do those kicks, and he would do all that very spontaneously, and I loved it. I loved it. Um, I used to jump off my front porch steps doing the Yankee Rose thing. I practiced all of David Lee Roth's jumps as much as I practiced Eddie Van Halen's guitar playing. So moving forward, in 1988, 89, when I went to see the Skyscraper tour, I I tell Brett this story all the time. I remember watching Brett hit his prime. I didn't know him. I was a kid, and it was his second record. But as a fan, I remember watching him hit his prime at Merriweather Post Pavilion, which is where Dave played, which is where M3 is. So there's so much to tie together to me personally about this whole thing. I was standing on the audience, and I watched what I considered the moment in which Bret Michaels took the crown off of David Lee Roth's head and put it on his own head. And I remember just thinking, before David even came out, I remember thinking, well, there's a new guy in town. Uh, so there's a lot of irony in the fact that I'm now his guitar player and he's my singer, and we have headlined Merriweather Post Pavilion ourselves twice now. It's where I saw him and Dave, and this is where Dave, I'm not going to say takes the crown back from Brett, but Dave Dave was the Dave that I've dreamed of him being for 30 years. And so let me continue. Um, so in 1998 or 1988, 89, when he was pushing 40 on that Skyscraper tour, is when he would, all those jumps and everything he would do, he would stand in a spot and he would get positioned to do the jumps and the kicks. And it looked so stupid to me. It looked like a pose. It became posing David Lee Roth. The David Lee Roth just a year before that was in complete motion all the time. And so it started to look really awkward to me. But I still waved the flag. I liked Dave still then, but I remember it being weird. Um, it never occurred to me that he was getting older and he had to pay more attention to his body. It's just you don't think of that. You think of your rock stars like superheroes and they're never going to die. And he was fighting for his life to stay relevant with Van Halen, because eventually Van Halen came out with 5150, and it became the best-selling Van Halen record of all time. The only Van Halen record that went to number one, despite 1984 and Jump being such an enormous record. The record itself never went to number one. Jump did, but 5150 was the first Van Halen number one record of all time. Um, so so uh, he came out with the next record. It was a record called A Little Ain't Enough, with a song called Sensible Shoes. And the grunge era had hit. Everybody had kind of turned their back on everybody. So it just didn't go anywhere. But it had great songs and great lyrics in it. And I went to see him again at Merriweather Post. Extreme and Extreme and Cinderella and David Lee Roth at Merriweather Post Pavilion, I think in 92 maybe, right in the middle of the end. Jessica, Sam and Dave do not get along. So anyway, um, it was more of the same, the poses and he started to act silly like we all. If you're a Van Halen fan, you know he started to just act crazy. Like, what the fuck is wrong with that guy? Now, if you listen to him talk in interviews and stuff, he's he's actually brilliant, and he's on a different level. And I've said this all these years. I'm not changing my tune this week. You can find that I've said this all these years. He's smarter than most people. He's more worldly than most people. While a lot of people were putting the money up their nose and buying, spending all their money on cars and drugs and women, Dave actually lives in his father's house in Pasadena. He's owned an apartment in New York, and he's owned an apartment or a condo, whatever you call them when you buy them, in Japan. But he's never been a frivolous spender in any way, shape, or form. And he's a relatively lonely guy. He has a cattle dog like Boba. And I know all this because as much as I criticize him, I also am always rooting for him in the back of my mind, just always disappointed. So anyway, so when he rejoins Van Halen, now not only does he get into this pose position that makes me crazy before he does a kick or a jump, but now he's 55 years old, possibly, that's older than me, and I that's older than I am right now, and my body fucking aches, and I've never done the martial arts and the vigorous routine that he's done to his body, and I just don't think about these things, but the kicks just look stupid. I guess he feels like he has to do them. I guess it's part of the thing, but he just should stop doing them. So when he rejoined Van Halen, I was excited to hear those Van Halen songs, and I was happy that there was some version of Van Halen. But I hated it. I hated it. He was goofy. The only time he wasn't goofy was when he would give the speech before Ice Cream Man, which gave me the chills every time I saw it. But he was goofy, and the world agreed. The world agreed with me. I'm not alone in this whole thing. A lot of people say he can't sing. That's not true. He chooses not to sing what you guys want to hear. I don't really mind the change of the melodies, but if he says he can't sing, to anyone that's a singer out there, I'm going to say this, and I can't believe I've been talking about David Lee Roth for 13 minutes of my life, but I am. When you listen to him change those vocal melodies, you go back and watch any live performance, even from the early Van Halen tours, where everyone talks about how his voice is so weird and he's lost his voice. He's actually hitting higher notes than he ever hit in Van Halen. His range is intact and his voice is intact. He chooses to do this. And I've said it a million times. He chooses to sing those melodies that way out of boredom, maybe, out of the thought that he always thought they were supposed to be different. In certain nuances, Brett changes the melodies to those Poison songs sometimes just as much. He sings Every Rose. You can sing along to it because the muscle memory is close, but he does rephrase that stuff different. And if you've ever noticed when we do Fallen Angel, Brett says nights seem longer instead of days seem longer. And it's consistent. It's not a mistake. He's done it for the 21 years I've been in his band. He says the nights seem longer. So Dave hasn't lost his voice. What Dave is doing is choosing to sing those strange melodies. If you watch the beginning of Panama and Drop Dead Legs, and there you can watch the entire M3 concert from this weekend. And if you watch Unchained and The Cradle Will Rock and some of Dance the Night Away, there are moments where it's Dave of 1984, undeniable. better pitch than he ever had. Sounds just like Dave. When he comes out of the gate with Panama and he goes, jump back, what's that sound? You know, it's him. It's not that what he was doing in Van Halen for the last 15 years. Jump back, what's that? And a lot of you may think that's what he did on that record. Go back and listen to that record. That is not. It's jump back. What's that? He's almost talking it. And when I saw that video play on M3, I was fucking blown away that there he was. He was back. So let me continue this. So I booked this gig, acoustic gig, far away. I have no concern with seeing David Lee Roth in my entire life. Let me see. In Alex's book, he states that David Lee Roth was the most hardworking of all of them. He has a stage act and the comedy. That's correct. Dave's incredible work ethic. I mean, look at him. He's 70 years old, and he's the only guy in the industry in better shape than Brett in that age group. You know what I'm saying? 28 viewers. If 28 you guys are watching, I appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, I really need those subscribers really, really bad. Hit the subscribe button. So I'm playing this brewery in King George County in Virginia, and not thinking twice about the David Lee Roth thing. However, earlier in the day, I had arranged with the promoter a whole thing that I would stop playing at the brewery. I thought I stopped playing at 7. I ended up stopping at 8, and I would go all the way to the get up to Columbia, Maryland, and they were going to have a police escort meet me so I could drive in through all the lights. What a privilege that is, to think that they were going to go out of their way so that a Van Halen fan like me wouldn't miss any of the show. What an honor that people were going to make that happen so I could see Van Halen. But I wasn't. I played till 8 o'clock. There was no way I could have made it anyway. But more about that in a minute. So my phone starts blowing up. And all I could think, and it's everybody from rock stars, of friends of mine that have become friends, to my son and the crew in the Bret Michaels band. My phone's blowing up while I'm playing. And honestly, all I can think is Dave went on and everyone's telling me how bad it is. I hate to say that, but that's all I could think was, how bad is this? Because that's what I've seen for so many years. And his shtick and his arrogance and his dumb jokes when he gets on the stage and I look at my phone after I'm done playing, and I have 40 texts from serious radio DJs to my son telling me it was the greatest thing they'd ever seen and it was incredible. I just can't believe it. I actually texted Gavin back and I said, did he play Yankee Rose? And Gavin said no. And I said, well, then it wasn't incredible. So, yep, that was Boba on the stage, without a doubt. With his ear protection. You saw we had his ear protection on. So, I go home in the morning, and I go home, and in the morning I get up and I watch the entire concert. Panama into Drop Dead Legs, and he really got me. The perfect set list, other than I'll Wait and Yankee Rose not being in there, the perfect set list for any Van Halen fan. Anytime Dave's ever been solo, his band is amazing. So that was no surprise to me. But that guitar player, there's a lot of people that Steve Brown and Dweezil Zappa are the two guys that should have been up for the Best of Both Worlds gig instead of Satriani. I'll say that till the day I die. They love Eddie. They're passionate for Eddie. They're Eddie studies. They have it down. But I have to tell you guys, as a Van Halen fan and a Van Halen study, that guitar player, if he doesn't have Van Halen blood in him, I would love him to do a DNA test. That guy, it just couldn't have been any fucking better. That guy was great, but the band was great. Always is. And then um, the 4 male backup singers. Incredible. Why not? Why not? Always do something a little bit different. You know, we have female backup singers. Skinner has female backup singers. Motley Crue has female backup singers. Um, no one ever thinks about. It's so uncommon. Leave it to David Lee Roth. 4 male backup singers. Uh, it's funny. Everyone says, "Oh, it took 4 guys to equal Michael Anthony." That's true. It's true. I know. I get it. I've been in the studio with Michael. I understand it does take 4 guys to do that. But whatever it takes to get the job done, right? And they were incredible. But here's what I want to say about Dave. And it's funny, for 2 days, all I saw was how great Dave was. Fred, were you there, buddy? Are you kidding me? Um, Dave walked out on the stage in all black without some stupid carnival looking costume. I think I told you guys this in the past. I know that, even Brett, who was the in the biggest glam band in the world, at 60 years old, he wears a t-shirt and jeans. I'm a t-shirt and jeans guy. Uh, and At the flamboyant stuff and all the, it's one thing to wear a little glitter, a little, Stephen Piercy, what a cool outfit he had on. But it was Judas Priest-esque, it wasn't flamboyant. And Dave walked out in all black. And I didn't make the comparison. Everyone made comparison to the Elvis Presley comeback. It never crossed my mind, but that's cool. That's cool. It's great. Um, but Dave was so fucking cool. It was what I have waited 30 years for Dave to be. And who am I to judge? Because there's also the part of me that respects Dave, just like I respect Vince, just like I respect Brett, that every one of those guys worked so hard to be able to do whatever the fuck they want. So let them do what they want. If Dave wants to flail around on stage in a carnival costume and sing strange melodies, he earned the right to do that. So God bless them all, but I saw the Dave that I wanted to see. And I think that, unfortunately, the M3 was a little low attended. It was only about 6,000 people this year. 4,000 tickets sold the day before, and I think that they got to 6,000 or 6,500. I do have to have the one brag moment that we were, last year with us as the headliners, we were 11,000. So, but he was the Dave I'd hoped for. And I was so glad my son saw it. My son has never seen any of those Van Halen songs live. We never went to see Van Halen before Ed died. Um, and but this is the as I was saying to Janet today, the what I think happened that I love so much is I didn't realize this, and I don't think it's ever been publicized. And somehow Tina did a bunch of research and found out when he announced his retirement a few years ago, and he had that message that sounded so. If you guys remember, it sounded like he was going to die. And it was very heartfelt. And as a Van Halen study and a guy that's listened to every interview David Lee Roth had ever done in his life intently and probably 10 times, that message he left when he was retiring, there was pain in his voice. But we never heard anything else about it unless I just missed it, and you guys know all this. But he ended up having something wrong with his spine, and he had spinal surgery. and he also had an aneurysm in his heart area. I guess you can look it up because Tina found it online. So here he is, 70 years old, and he walks out, and he doesn't, not one single kick that he can't do anymore, not one jump off the drum riser. And if you guys, I'm begging all you guys to watch. There's a great video of the whole concert posted, super clear, super great angle. And because I think that he can't do that stuff anymore, like medically can't, not just a little I'm too old. I am certain if you've had spinal surgery, I'm sure the doctor said you're never jumping off that drum riser again, right? And he went out there and he never got into position. He never looked like he was posing, smiling the whole time, and a little less energy, a little dialed back, more cool, more Mick Jagger than he's ever been in a long time. And you know, he still sang those words. As the show went on, he started to do them funky melodies, but I just don't care. What I care about was that he wasn't a clown. He was so cool that on this chat that we have every week, I talk about these things. I talk about this. Have we shifted into other realities? Are we in a different? Are there different realities happening at once? And have we shifted into different realities? And as stupid as it fucking sounds, this is one of those things that makes me wonder: did we shift into a different reality where I think Dave's cool? Because here's another thing that I might have spoke about a little last week. I'm going to speak about it again. As much as you guys all know that I'm a gigantic Sammy Hagar fan, and I love those songs, I am heartbroken at his tribute song. I think I did talk about this last week. There's nothing Van Halen about that song at all. So if you're telling me that Edward came to you in a dream with that song, it's just not true. And it feels a little opportunist. Feels like maybe you're cashing in a little bit, and that's what the business is. It's entertainment business, but cashing in on your dead friend hurts my soul. And so here we are, May 6th of 2025, after 36 long years of feeling the way I do. It's fucking awkward that today I'm more cheerleading Dave than Sam. What the fuck has happened? I'll always love Sam and I'll always love those songs, and he's always been super kind to me and super gracious. I'm not saying a bad word. I'm just saying it's fucking weird. Like, am I in a different reality where I'm Team Dave all of a sudden? It's strange. So that's it. That's my rant on David Lee Roth. It was great. And if you guys are a Van Halen fan and haven't seen it, check it out. So with that being said, I want to move on to I'll try to make this a little quicker. I played this brewery called Creekside Brewery. And I feel like I'm being a little bit biased because a childhood friend whose our parents were friends owns this place. Her name's Betsy Morris Hart now. And she invited both me and Bart, if I'm talking locally, Bart, who played bass in the Bret Michaels band and is playing bass for us while Norman goes to Italy, to go down there and play. Bart went first last week, and we're always apprehensive to new places. We don't know what we're getting into. He wrote back, man, that place is cool. Bart doesn't have the connection with Betsy that I have. So, So I said, all right, Bart's endorsement makes it great. So I get down there and I drive into the parking lot, and it's the most amazing. Like for a brewery, I can't even tell you guys what I saw. Just look it up online. I hope they have pictures or whatever. But even if you're not from Virginia, if you come to Virginia next year for the Evick show, or you're passing through Virginia, this place is an hour and a half away from Manassas. Fucking find the time to go down and see this place. It's the cool. I would play there every day. The acoustic stuff. I had a wonderful time, and I'm so proud of a friend of mine that I know from school from 1978. You know, whenever kindergarten starts, I've known her that long. This place is just cool. That's all I can say. But interestingly enough, I posted a picture of, I think there were 7 girls uh, that I went to high school with that were at at this show. A couple of them I keep in touch with, and a couple of them, and most of them I don't. Um, but 2 of them were in my choir class, uh, my freshman year in choir class. And let me tie this all in again. I wrote about this in The Moments That Make Us. One of the girls' name was Audrey Blevins, uh, and the other girl that was in my choir class is Courtney Travis. And so my sister was a singer and had the choir teacher years before me. Um, and my sister was a great singer, and the teacher loved her. And so when I got to high school, I don't remember how this went down, but the teacher's name was Wanda Boley, Mrs. Boley, and Mrs. Boley requested that I be in choir. I don't know how, because I wouldn't have picked to be in choir. There was something happened that I ended up in the choir. Um, Not that it's bad; it's great, and I have great, great, great memories and great friends that I made there. But you guys know the whole story where I didn't start singing professionally till I was 25 years old. I wasn't any good at it, and I had to go to Broadway and take 9 months of intense vocal coaching from the most famous vocal coach in Broadway history, um, just to get what voice comes out of my mouth now to come out. It wasn't an easy fucking road. So my point of that was, I'm petrified in choir class. I don't want to sing. Um, and Wanda Boley, the first day of class, says to me, "Are you going to be as good as your sister?" It was really one of those moments you have where you hear like you're that you had to live up to your sister. It's the only time in my life that there was anything like that. There only time in my life that there was any kind of competition, and it wasn't coming directly from my sister or my parents. It was coming from the former teacher. So one day, Ms. Boley said, "Why don't you just bring that guitar in here and play for us?" In a way to try to help myself confidence. And I don't know what her plan was, but anyway, I brought the guitar in, and I was nervous as can be. And a lot of these people I didn't know yet, because our schools would merge. So I came from a middle school called Parkside Middle, where only a handful of us went to Stonewall Jackson High School, and we were the smaller. We felt like all of us felt like the outcasts coming to this crowd of people that all went to another elementary school together, and all had ninth grade was very, very, very uncomfortable. Let me just put it that way. And I was super shy, super quiet, and Audra was a cheerleader, and she was very outgoing, very, very, very pretty girl, still a very beautiful woman, and incredibly vibrant. She's married to my friend Matt Blevins, that I also knew from elementary school. Um, and they're so happy, and they have such a happy family, and they have, it appears to be the perfect life. But I don't know if she could sense what I was going through or my nervousness. I'm sitting there with a guitar and I'm looking around and I'm thinking, all these people probably want to hear Duran Duran or Cyndi Lauper, and I'm a metalhead. What could I possibly play? And Audrey raises her hand and goes, "Can you play Panama from Van Halen?" And that moment, that very moment, I wrote about it in the Moments That Make Us because it was a moment that made me. And so I played Panama. And Audra happened to be at this event, and she's not seen me sing since high school. We've talked and communicated. She's been in the Candle Shop, but she's never seen me perform with Brett, with Evick solo, or anything like that. And neither has Courtney Travis, these two girls from my high school choir class. So, ironically, I tell that story on the stage, and I play Panama acoustically, which I only do on occasion, and I only do it with Chuck. And Chuck wasn't here, and I played this in front of them after I tell the story. And strangely enough, I was playing Panama acoustic at about the exact same moment David Lee Roth was playing it at Merriweather in front of my son on the stage that I saw him with Poison. Do you understand all this stuff that was happening in my head at this evening? It was so crazy. So anyway, moving forward, I was so nervous to play in front of those two girls. I think I tell this to you guys a lot. I don't have stage fright. I don't get nervous. I my first gig was fourth grade talent show, and I've never looked back. It's very rare that something works my nerves, and I was fucking petrified to play in front of those two girls. There's Julie. Julie was there. I'm telling the story correctly, right? It was a great night. I was petrified. And it sucks because Julie left. So after that, after everything packed up and I realized I wasn't going to make it to David Lee Roth, I sat around and chatted with these girls that I haven't talked to, a handful of them, in 30 years. And Julie is my high school friend, and she's part of this gang. She's part of this gang. But me and her are closer friends these days, and we know each other and talk quite often. But the connection and the innocence and the bond that these girls have maintained since high school, the energy, I fed off of it like a fucking vampire. I didn't want to leave. I just wanted to sit and bask in what I considered innocence, And it goes back to the stuff I was telling you about, the abduction stuff and Whitley Strieber, and the thing we're missing, the part of the thing that we're all missing in the world to get to the next level and to get to ascension is to be as children, to find innocence. And it was there in the middle of the woods in King George with a bunch of girls I went to high school with, and the I don't know that I had felt that comfortable in my entire life, and that normal and that peaceful. And it was just basking in their energy and their innocence. I hope that I get to feel that again. It was such an incredible feeling. Jackie, if you're still watching, chime in or hit me a text about what you think about some of this. But it was just, they all had love for each other. Maybe they've had fights, and maybe some of them gone years without speaking to each other. I don't know what it is, but in that evening they were special, and they were together, and they were a unit, and it was just this incredible evening I'm never gonna forget. And and I'm partially afraid to go back there, because what if I don't feel that again? They all live up here. They were down there for different reasons. What if they don't come? Strange. strange feeling, but it was such a special night, and it was so serendipitous is the word, knowing that my kid was where I should have been experiencing Van Halen while I'm with my high school friends in the time where Van Halen was Van Halen to me. It was too much. It's too much. I don't even know what else to say. I can't I can't even explain it anymore. You get my point. So Whitley's right. My point to this, to all those who've been following my story, is Whitley's right. Be as children and return to innocence. Return to innocence. I felt it. I felt that energy. So, and by the way, so moving forward, now I'm going to say, if you are following my journey and all the stuff that I'm going through, I've told you about this guy that does Area 52, the website, Chris Ramsey, who's a former magician who has dove into this world of disclosure. And he had Whitley on his show. In his last podcast, you can look it up on YouTube. And I'm begging you, if any of you are interested in this as much as you seem to say you are, not about me, about the topic, watch Area 52, Chris Ramsey with Whitley Strieber. It's 2.5 hours, and it's the best interview Whitley has ever given. And Chris is amazing. And it's funny. It's funny. Chris Ramsey has more Instagram viewers than most rock stars. And I guess I got to do the research. Maybe he was a pretty famous magician. He seems to be very respected. But I emailed him, and I just said, hey, you don't know me, but I always say that I play guitar for Brett. I hate to say it, but I always let that know, because a lot of times people will I'll skim through emails. I have 3,000 unread emails, but I put it in the topic just to be an eye opener. So he responds back to me, and because I tell him how great the interview was. Thanks, thanks, and then we just start emailing back and forth, and so it goes back to, if my friend Jackie's still watching, it goes back to the thing I'm saying. There's something going on here, because I wouldn't have never emailed some dude on a podcast. I'm connected with Whitley now. Me and this Chris Ramsey are email buddies. There's something happening, man. I'm telling you guys, there's something big happening in this world where people are being brought together about this topic, and it's just amazing. So that segues into, I think I told you guys all that I decided to do the hypnosis thing. Maybe what I didn't tell you is that I'm going to do it with 3 different people. I'm skeptical, even though I've had it done before 25 years ago, and I believe in the process. I'm skeptical about the whole thing, because the mind is powerful, and the imagination is powerful, and you can create your own realities and destinies. You go into this thinking, I'm getting hypnotized to find out what happened with me and the aliens. If it's already on your mind, there's a good chance that they can bring it out of you, right? So I don't. So I've decided that I'm going to be hypnotized 3 times, and I don't want the 3 people to know about it. This one particular person specializes in alien abduction hypnotherapy, and today she did a pre-hypno interview with me, and I'm going to be real honest with you guys. I find it skeptical, because, and I turned my camera on because I'm trying to document some of this. Unfortunately, my camera died. I filled my memory card about 15 minutes into the interview, but I'm still going to put together what I have for everybody. But I'm skeptical because I was questioned. So hypnosis is a lot the power of suggestion, I think. And the fact that she interviewed me made me feel like she was digging for the answers I wanted so that she can spend the next week figuring out possibly how to make me say what I want to hear. Um, so, so next Tuesday is my first hypnosis. I'll schedule the other two, but I don't know that anyone's ever done this before, where they use it as a control. And to be honest with you, it occurred to me that I may make waves in this industry, or not in this industry, in this field, in this topic, in this community by doing this way. I don't know that anyone's ever done it. And there's tons of hypnosis, but a lot of people don't let it out, you know. I but I have to think about it a lot. This could ruin a lot of things. You know what I mean? Like people think people are crazy that think these things. You know, again, Sammy Hagar's suggested that he's had these experiences, and then he backs off, similar to how I've done over the years. Ace Frehley, 100% thinks that this has happened to him, but he's a fucking space case. I love the boy, I love him to death, but so I'm going to videotape all three. My point of that was I was talking to Chris Ramsey that runs Area 52, and he just thought it was a great idea. And we talked about if I decide I like what I see, maybe I will let him have the exclusive on his podcast to show all of this. I'll obviously show it all to you guys in a private. We're a club. You guys will be the first to see it somehow, but depending on what happens, and if all three stories, I say stories, if all three hypno sessions come out with even similar outcomes, I believe that's a pretty good piece of evidence in the world today that there's something real about the phenomena, and I believe that I can help people, because that's the only reason I would do this, because I'm sacrificing my kids, thinking I'm a fucking idiot. My kids don't buy into this stuff at all, and they can't. It's uncomfortable to even speak about it to them. Brett may not love. I don't know that Brett would care. It's hard to say, but you sacrifice a lot. Like, there may be people that won't buy candles from me anymore because of just me doing it, But there's also the idea that I'm going to find out that it's all been in my imagination. If that's the point, that's great too. That's great. Just like I said in my book, if it's all my imagination, that's great. But we're going to try to find out, and hopefully under hypnosis, I say some things and do some things that might help someone else. I'm certainly not going to put it out to the public just for show. I don't want any part of my popularity or my my success in the entertainment industry to be because of this. I know that there are an average, there's 300,000 people in the United States alone that suffer from thinking they have these experiences. 300,000 reported cases of people in the last 10 years that suffer from it. That you suffer from it. So if I can help, I'll be the guinea pig. But I think it's a neat idea to do 3 sessions from 3 completely different people. So 27 people watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Let me see some of the other topics that I wanted to bring up. Because we're only 10 minutes left. So nobody's going to care about this, but I'm going to see Metallica tomorrow. If you guys know, I don't go out a lot. The social anxiety gets the best of me. I just being at M3 as a fan on Sunday was hard. It was hard. Um, but both of my kids want to see Metallica. And other than Marvel movies, the kids usually don't want to do the same things. Uh, so it's been um, 1992 was the last time I saw Metallica. The first time I saw Metallica, I'm always so grateful, and I don't know that it'll ever get. Uh, Amy, we won't be. Well, we are. We're playing in Kentucky and Chicago before Boardwalk, so we won't be anywhere close. Um, I saw Metallica in 1984 or 86, opening up for Ozzy, and Cliff Burton was still alive. So if you're a music fan and a Metallica fan, you have to understand that I had no idea who that band was, and they ripped my face off with an energy I'd never felt in my life. And um, but I saw him with Cliff. There's not a lot of us that can say that. I say that, but there was 30,000 people that night at the arena. I mean, millions saw Cliff, but not a lot of people in the grand scheme of what Metallica became got to see Cliff Burton. So I hold that. And then in 1988, I saw Metallica at RFK Stadium opening for Van Halen on the Monsters Rock tour. So that's a giant, huge memory. Um, and then somewhere in '92 or something, I guess, I I saw them at the Capitol Center. I think Queensryche was the opening act, and I wasn't very interested in going, but everyone, it was one of those things everyone was going, so I went. But they're great. Metallica is great, but it's been a long, long time. Uh, and I'm even sitting here talking to you guys about it. I'm having this strange anxiety because it's a stadium. It's at Virginia Tech Stadium, somewhere I've never been. I don't know anything about it. It's 4 hours away. Uh, but that stage show looks great, and Pantera's playing. You know, um, it's exciting. That's exciting to see Zach do the Pantera stuff. That's big, big, big to me. So it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it to be with my kids. It'll be worth it to see that in the round setup and stuff like that. But I'm already freaking out about it right now. And half of my head is talking about how not to go. But it's exciting to go see, and it's a learning thing, you know. So, um, so one of the things. So again, I don't endorse anything, but you guys know that I talk a lot about the glasses, the AI glasses that I have, the Ray Bans. Um, when you guys see me shooting the video with them, but the other thing about them is uh, they're an AI assistant, and it's really freaky because um, if you're a Marvel fan, like Jacob explains it, it's funny. My son Jacob's not usually into anything, and he asked me to check the glasses out, and he checked them out, and he went out and bought a pair himself, and then he talked like three of his friends into buying them. Um, and I just wanted to say, they're this incredible tool. If any of you guys are interested, the AI assistant in it is phenomenal. Yesterday when I was going to ride my bike, I had them with me because if you guys have noticed, I like to take video of nature and the world we're in. But I decided to just mess with the AI assistant because they just updated Meta's AI assistant. And a lot of people think this is creepy, and a lot of people think it's Skynet. But I had a conversation with my glasses about the alien abduction phenomena. I asked it all kinds of questions. That's how I got the information about how many people have claimed to be abducted in the last couple of years. And even though it's Skynet, and even though they're collecting your data, the instant ability to have information, even more than like if you're on, it's a different experience than having like maps and stuff on your phone. Like if you're driving and someone says, uh, find out where the closest gas station is, and then you type that in your phone or you ask Siri and the map comes up. Asking the glasses that kind of stuff is a whole nother experience, and there's a there's a lot of negativity to the privacy, I think, of this and the whole Skynet fear, but they're super fucking cool tool because you could just have them on your head. You don't have the phone in your hand. The hands freeness of it, and you hear it talk, so you don't have to listen to your phone. You can be anywhere, and you can listen to music on them without the earbuds in. There's all this shit you can do, and now it has a translator. Uh, I haven't used this yet, but basically, if you tell it to put the translator on and you're speaking to someone in a different language in real time, it speaks to you in English, and then you can speak. It's they're cool, man. That's all I have to say. I'm a techno guy, and I like that. I like the technology, and I just want to say to anyone that has any interest in them, it's more than taking videos and photos. Uh, you know, the other thing that I think is neat that you can do is even though it's Meta, you can't do it like with Facebook because it's Apple. I'm sure Apple's going to come out with glasses that's going to be. If you guys know, I'm an Apple guy till the end, so I'm sure that Apple's going to come out with a product that is exclusive to the Apple experience. And I'm going to have to get rid of these Ray-Bans and get whatever Apple has, but or have them both. I don't know, but but what was my point? Oh, but if you have Facebook, you can do. If I have the glasses on, I can do a one-to-one video call with a video message call, like a FaceTime, but on Facebook, and whoever I call, can see through my eyes. That's it's a I don't like Facebook Live. I hate that. But on a one-to-one experience, if you're at a concert and somebody couldn't get tickets, or it's for some reason somebody that loves the band you're at just couldn't be, and you just want them to watch one song, but you're not doing this. This is so intrusive and so in the fans' way, in your own way, hold it up. It annoys the shit out of the artist. You know, it's wait. I hear you, Sean. I hear you. Uh, anyway, if you guys are interested in that kind of stuff, there's so much more to them than just. I think a lot of people just think they're glasses with a camera. That they are. If you're a Siri guy or whatever assistant those other phones use, if you've morphed into that digital assistant thing, these glasses blow it away and so unintrusive. And I just think you should check it out. Couple more minutes, real quick. Uh, so I don't know if I said this last week or not. I can't remember, but the tariff thing is, uh, again, we're not going to go on an anti-Trump thing. I'm just going to say, uh, so last week, my drone, my other technology, I don't know if I told you, the batteries for the drone are $30. Battery only lasts 18 minutes in my drone. Drone batteries don't last a long time. And for a year, I was like, oh, I'm not going to get any batteries. I'll just get another batteries. And then I saw them. I did say this last week. So because of the tariffs, my batteries doubled last week. So I freaked out and I found some batteries in the U.S. at a better price. But the battery prices fucking doubled. So the tariff thing's coming. So with me saying that, I don't know if you guys saw Mattel today, the toy company, Mattel had announced that they're raising their prices because of the tariffs. So that sucks. But then I saw today China is going to talk finally about the tariffs. So maybe this will all be over soon. But I don't know. It sucks though. And then so that moves me to. I totally understand your anxiety. I get it, Lee. I get it. Um, that brings me to this. This is where I'm going to say I don't care if it is Ronald Reagan, and I don't care if it's Obama, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, George Bush, Donald Trump, Jimmy Carter. I don't care what fucking president would have done this. Fuck you to whoever it is. Trump announced the other day that he's going to tariff movies not made in the U.S. Have you guys seen this? I don't quite understand this. And I don't quite understand the deal. Is the tariff going to go to foreign films, or is the tariff going to go to Disney filming Star Wars in Tusnia or what or whatever it is, or you know, all those Marvel films are made. Most of it's made in Canada, I think. Like, is this real? Like he said, like it. Isn't there something more fucking important to do than tariff the film industry? I don't know what to fucking say about it, but it's irritating me. Can you? I do, Roxanne. It's clear. I hate to say it. You're not hiding anything. You have anxiety. So that I just wanted to bitch about it. You know, maybe if all the other problems were solved and there was no issues in the world and everything was okay, maybe let's figure out if making films out of the country is losing America money or whatever. But must be made in the USA. Like, who wants to see Star Wars filmed in fucking Nevada? Like, we all know what that desert looks like. Them filming it in Abu Dhabi gives us Tatooine. Fuck, man, or whatever the other one was. And yes, I know they filmed a bunch of it in Death Valley in the original movie and stuff like that. But we're past that. I don't know. It is the dumbest thing I ever heard. It irritates me. But then I want to say I went to see the Thunderbolts, the new Marvel movie with my kids, and I'm not a movie critic. I usually enjoy everything. I enjoyed The Acolyte. I like a lot of things. Some of the latest Marvel stuff I haven't been able to get into, and that bums me out because I want to get into it. Um, but this thing, if you guys are a Marvel fan and you haven't seen Thunderbolts yet, I'm telling you, go fucking see it. World class movie. Like, it's as good as the early Avengers movies and stuff like that. So I'm just telling you to do that. But so then now I don't know if you guys saw this today. This is my rapid finish up in a couple minutes thing. Stuff that's on my mind. Uh, Pakistan and India are fighting each other today. Like, I'm unaware. I didn't know there was a problem, but now they're at war. Like, out of today, you go on YouTube and you see in Pakistan and India are blowing each other the fuck up out of nowhere. How the fuck did that happen? It's ridiculous. Like, it's just another war. Event. Even if Russia and China don't fight each other into World War III, eventually all these little fights become one giant fight, right? Eventually, it has to. Somebody's ally has to kick in, and we're gonna get there. The fear I have of it is just ridiculous. You know. Anyway, if you didn't see today, Shining Soul won Best Gift Shop. Out of the 9 years we've been down there, there was only 1 year we didn't win, and that particular year, me and Darren completely forgot to tell anyone to vote. We never told anybody. We never even made a single post about it. And we still came in second that year. But 9 years of Shining Soul being #1 gift shop. And I know a lot of you guys aren't from Manassas, but I know you buy the candles, and I know you help me vote when I ask about it. And so I'm personally thanking all of you guys because you helped me all along, all the time. So I'm grateful. I appreciate that so much. Yeah. So if you're into the UFO thing, I just want to say there's a new whistleblower that came out last week. Again, the crowd, it's all growing. His name is James Fowler. He's got a very interesting story. He's one of the ones that claims that he has seen the extraterrestrial, spoke to him. He's a government guy, you know. Um, Voted from off the grid. Yes, you guys. So his name is James Fowler. Check him out. So let's see. I talked about Metallica. I talked about Creekside. I talked about the batteries. I talked about Mattel. Talked about the Canadian Prime Minister. I just have to say this because Dave Dunsmith will go and watch this later. I don't know if you guys saw, but Trump and the Canadian Prime Minister met today, and I don't know his name, but he was so funny, man. He literally said in front of the whole press, "I just want you guys to be clear, Canada will never be for sale." And then Trump goes, "You never say never," which was funny, but just on national TV in front of our president saying, basically, quit doing that. Quit talking about Canada being the 51st state. It was funny. It was funny. At this point, it's all funny, other than the wars. The rest of it is just. He wants to bring Alcatraz back. What's he want to bring Alcatraz back for? Like, don't we have better technology? You know, I played at the dock in San Francisco that you could see Alcatraz from, like the dock that we did a concert there, and I must have stared out at Alcatraz for 3 or 4 hours. It's creepy, man. Like that's not, it's inhumane. Like the amount of dollars it would take to put that thing back into working order for what would be considered humane standards, even for prisoners in this day and age. Again, let's find something better to do. Why is that even on your mind? Let's bring Alcatraz back. I just don't know. I don't know. I'm learning to laugh at it. When I started talking with you guys about this, I was in dire straits and stressed about every move that was being made in the world. And somewhere between talking to Whitley and my new friend Jackie and some of these other people, that something's happened where I've just calmed down a bit and think that what's going to happen is what's going to happen. And there's a different, like you guys have seen the journey of faith with me. Maybe that's it. Maybe a couple weeks ago when I locked my science and faith together, maybe that was when the peace came, and I just am able to know that I'm on the right side, whatever side that is. And so whatever fears I had must be gone. I don't know, because now I just have to laugh at the ridiculousness of all of it. So anyway, there you go, guys. If any of you guys are in Manassas, me and Chad and Dean are doing the gig at Sinistral. It's going to be jam packed, but let's make it a record breaking crowd. Let's make history down there. And we're playing in Hagerstown Saturday or Friday, and then we're playing in Myrtle Beach on Saturday, and it's Bike Week. And if any of you guys know anybody in Myrtle Beach or any friends anywhere in that area, we need to help and support for that gig. We need to make it big. So please tell anyone you know in Myrtle Beach to come check out the Ultimate Acoustic Rock Show. And then I will see you guys next week. I hope this was better than last week, man. I felt like I let you guys down last week. And then so this week I came at you like full on with a giant list of stuff to chat about and talk about. And I appreciate you guys all being here. If you didn't already, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Thanks for listening to me. Thanks for being a friend, a supporter. And that's it.